Hello, hello. This is my artifact episode number 3390. Today's date is 15th of April 2025. It's been almost like a night at 10:53 p.m. Okay, yesterday and day before yesterday, haven't really recorded artifact. The reason was that ki it's the 14th of April. Okay, what's the special of 14th of April? Okay, so I am belongs to the scheduled caste community. Okay, yeah, Buddhist. Okay, I'm belong to the India, by the way. First of all, I'm belong to the India, Maharashtra. Okay, and uh, and basically this thing I am scheduled caste. Like basically, why do I kind of like saying this thing? It is my caste. Okay, yeah, like a scheduled caste community is something that it's a caste. Okay, yeah, I'm belong to the Buddhist. Okay, yeah, and um, in India, okay, in India, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is one of the very prestigious person. Was okay, was like he is not alive. Okay, yeah, but okay, most of people get really offended because I'm kind of like trying to tell you regarding about all over the people point of perspective. Yeah, like basically who are those people who are kind of like living in another part of the world. They don't really know about what is exactly this B.R. Ambedkar person, this thing. So yeah, so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, he is one of those person who kind of like giving the independence of the scheduled caste community of the people. Like basically they have rights to educate, they have rights to kind of like a something establish business of their themselves, like basically this thing okay, I don't know, I shouldn't supposed to talk about this kind of like some religious stuff, but yeah, first of all, let's just been through that. Okay, let's talk from. Okay, yeah, so I'm belong to the India, and India has a kind of like a something several category of the people. Okay, just trying to understand what is the category of the people. First categories of people is the basically the king. Okay, king, queen. Okay, like a very top tier kind of like a somebody person. Okay, and also I'm trying to tell you regarding about the thousands of year of history about Indian history. Okay, and as also my the things that I'm trying to tell you is my perspective. Might be I'm kind of like a somebody wrong, but this is kind of like a things that I know. Okay, so first people is the king, queen, and the kind of like a something the royal family. First, okay, category. Another category is that Brahmins. Okay, yeah, Brahmins, and then yeah, dharma guru vagara vagara. Okay, these are kind of like a something second category. Okay, yeah. Now third category is kshatriya. Okay, yeah, kshatriya. And the fourth category is a Shudra. Okay, first of all, let's just explain this thing. A Kshatriya means like that, kind of like a somebody defenders of the entire province or country or things like that. Okay, and another like one of the bottom level is a Shudra. What is Shudra? A Shudra means like that the people who used to kind of like a something act as a kind of like a something servant in the community. Okay, means like that they are kind of like cleaning things and something like that. Okay, yeah, why do we have this kind of like a something category of the people? Like I'm trying to tell you from the thousands year of history point of perspective. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of like a something category of that people, and I don't know why does we have that thing, but yeah, we have it. Okay, yeah. So basically this thing, the top tier kind of like a people are kind of like a something diminish when the independence is actually happened. Okay, yeah, like a king and queen was gone. Okay, yeah, then what exactly is this thing that what exactly happened that ki Brahman, Kshatriya, and Shudra. Okay, yeah, so these are kind of like a three category of the people. Okay, yeah, so basically what exactly happened na ki like I don't know, let me tell you regarding about the service. Okay, yeah, service. Okay, like which person get kind of like a something very good service. Okay, yeah, so the Brahman and Dharma Guru people are getting kind of like a something very good service. Very good service means like that ki they will get kind of like a something respected in the community. Okay, Another thing is that ki they would kind of like a judge the all those decision making process. Okay, yeah. So yeah, like it's a really good thing. Okay, the service that they get is kind of like a something very royal. Okay, equivalent to the first tier kind of like people. Another is a kshatriya. Okay, yeah, means like the defender of the things. Okay, which is diluted into the police and military and things like that. Okay, yeah. Now let's talk about the Shudra. Okay, and as also let me tell you one thing. Na? The Shudra people is kind of like a somebody consuming almost like a 70 to 80% of the entire population. Yeah, means like that 30% of the population getting like a very royal class service, and rest of the 80% or 70% of the people which is belong to the Shudra, they are kind of like a somebody very bad service. Like they didn't really get any service at all. Like they are kind of like a somebody act as a servant, they are act as a kind of like a somebody, I don't know. Okay, very bottom level. Okay, like they used to be kind of like a somebody clean the house and things, like act as a servant. Okay, yeah, but it's just like that ki like a try to create a image a servant means India. Okay, yeah, means like that ki, let me tell you one thing na, cleaning the house and cleaning the bathroom in US and Europe is a kind of like a somewhat okayish job. Oh yeah, but when you come to the India na, it is kind of like a somebody you don't really get any kind of like a somebody respect if you are kind of like a somebody Shudra. It's nothing really at all. And as also is this thing na ki at that point looking at Shudra is a kind of like a somebody just very bottom people. Like it's a very like we shouldn't supposed to do any kind of like basically as a the royal community of the people, like a Brahman and other kind of like some people are kind of like some always think that ki the Shudra they are born for kind of like a something just for service, kind of like a somebody actor servant. Okay, yeah, means like that they don't really get the rights to educate. Okay, they don't really rights to kind of like a somebody build any business and things like that. They don't really rights to be kind of like a somebody living good. No, they just born for as a servant and they act as a servant for rest of the lifetime. Okay, yeah, this is kind of like a something the rule that we have at that time. Okay, yeah. And as also let me tell you one thing na, India is a kind of like a very religious country. Okay, yeah, like it was like a really extreme, like the religious follows in India is like too much, like literally too much. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, this kind of like a something category of the people are associated with the religious and stuff like that. Means like that ki they actually kind of like a somebody mention that ki the god is kind of like a created this partition regarding about the category of the people, and the god is kind of like a giving a particular opportunity to what they should supposed to do in the society. As a Brahman they should supposed to be kind of like a pray for god, and Dharma Guru as also kind of like a build some sort of like a something like a judiciary system act like that. Okay, yeah, I'm not talking about the the royal blood, means like that king and queen are kind of like always be a royal. Okay, yeah, but Dharma Guru and kind of like a somebody Brahman and things like that, they are kind of like a something just they communicate with the god. Okay, yeah. Kshatriya people kind of like somebody associated with the defense. Okay, yeah, means they should supposed to protect their country and things like that. And Shudra is kind of like some of the people who are act as a servant. Okay, yeah, and who says that? God says that. And who is actually telling? The Dharma Guru and Brahman are actually telling that thing ki yeah, the Shudra kind of like some community people are kind of like somebody born for kind of like act as a servant. Yeah, so basically is this thing in India. Okay, yeah, which is actually consume almost like 80% of the population, which is not like they don't really have to rights to kind of like something educate themselves, nothing really at all. How they don't really right to educate themselves, nothing really at all. As also is this saying that they don't really like not like basically all the rights that we are right now is kind of like a non-existence. Okay, yeah. So when the independence actually happened, okay, yeah, like during the independence, okay, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Bhimrao Ambedkar is a kind of like a freedom fighter of India. Okay, yeah. He also born as a kind of like a something as a Shudra community of the people. Okay, yeah. And as also he faced lot of criticism in his entire life. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is one of the smartest person. Okay, yeah. And he wanted to do kind of like some sort of thing for the community. Okay, yeah. he educate themselves like when they want to kind of like do the study, the teachers and every kind of like a somebody like a staff, teacher staff are kind of like somebody looking at very wrong way. Like basically they think that ki you are Shudra people, that means you should supposed to be kind of like somebody stay away from the classroom, or like you don't really get any kind of like some admissions and things like that. But Bhimrao Ambedkar was kind of like somebody person who was really hungry for educate themselves. So he studied. Okay, he studied. Okay, yeah. Then somehow he went to the kind of like assembly Europe and be a barrister. Okay, be a kind of like a lawyer and things like that. And when he came to the India, okay, yeah, he realized that he Shudra community of the people, they don't really get any kind of like assembly rights. Okay, even if India get the independence, Shudra community of the people, they don't really get any kind of like assembly rights. Why? Because there are at that time there are a lot of freedom fighter, Mahatma Gandhi ji and Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Those are kind of like a freedom fighter, are kind of like a fighting for independence of the country. Okay, yeah. But Bhimrao Ambedkar are kind of like a fighting for the rights in the country. Means like that ki even if we get the independence, still we have kind of like a somebody rights to for kind of like a somebody for the kind of like simply people who are associated with the Hindu community of people and things like that. Okay, yeah, where it would top tier, means like that Brahman and kind of like simply is this thing, means like that what he was kind of like a something is this thing that ki, even if get the independence of the India, the community of the Hindu people are kind of like a somebody considered as kind of like a top tier, means like that Brahman and things like that. So basically it was kind of like a discrimination happened to the Shudra people, because like most of Shudra people are not really that much educated, not really that much kind of like a something understand what is actually independence for themselves. They don't really understand anything at all. Okay, yeah. And basically is this saying the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar understand that it's 80% of the people who are kind of like a part as a something like Shudra, kind of like a things like that. And is this saying that they also kind of like a something wanted to give them rights, okay, to this new nation of the India. So basically he did kind of like some sort of stuff in the constitution of the India, that he gives some sort of rights to the people who are kind of like a belong to the scheduled caste community, that they will get kind of like a rights to educate. They will also right to start up their business, like they would do any kind of like somebody, or always like a somebody really rights to kind of like establish themselves for better future. Okay, yeah. So because of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar are kind of like a did that thing. And by the way, let me tell you one thing, as I'm trying to tell you all those things, it was kind of like a in very short way. Okay, yeah. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar fight for rest of the lifetime for all those things. Okay, because there are a lot of things actually happened. Lot of things has actually happened. Okay, yeah. So Dr. Bhimrao at that time, na, okay, yeah. Shudra community of the people, they don't really have any kind of like a samtaliya caste. Okay, yeah. Like as I mentioned earlier, I am belong to the India, and India is a very religious country, and as also casteism in India is a kind of like a something happened in very much. Okay, yeah, very much. Okay, yeah. Like basically, if you don't really have your surname, that is okay, but if you don't really have your caste, that is not okay. Yeah, still it is kind of like a something very like a very big thing in here. Okay, yeah. So so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki how do we supposed to identify, like basically it is really essential to be follow a religious. Okay, yeah. And Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar at that time, he was kind of like a something realized that ki Shudra community of the people, they don't really get them rise like rights and things like that. I don't know what exactly happened. I'm not really kind of like some expert in this particular stuff, but it's just like that ki he wrote some sort of kind of like a rights in the Indian constitution, and because of that, okay, yeah. The Shudra community of the people, the scheduled caste community of the people, okay, yeah, they are have kind of like a rights to educate themselves and things like that. So after almost like 75 years, we are rise up. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing, my grandfather was a servant. Okay, yeah. But my father and my father's big brother, माझे मोठे वडील, is a kind of like a something, they get kind of like a something opportunity to educate themselves. So my मोठे वडील became kind of like a something scientist. My father became a teacher, And because of all those things, I am kind of like a born in such a family where kind of like a something, I have something house, or kind of like a something, a roof. I get kind of like a something stuff to eat twice in a day. Okay, and it is kind of like a something, such a thing which is really essential thing for surviving the life, and I'm getting it that thing. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is kind of like a something rights that we get, and not only just me or my family, each and everyone. As I mentioned earlier, in India, almost like a 70 to 80% of the people are kind of like a belong to the scheduled caste community of the people, and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar are give them rights to educate themselves and stuff like that. And because of the kind of like a rights and things like that, we are kind of like a something evolved. Okay, and we just kind of like a something, yeah. Okay, so this is what it is. So Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is a kind of like a somebody for us, is a very big person, literally is a big person. Like a, we look at him is a kind of like a something as a, if even if we get the independence now, still having that kind of like a somebody getting rights is kind of like a somebody non-equivalent if the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is not even exist. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a something very, very, very essential for us, like a, for me, for kind of like a SC community of the people, is that ki Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is a one of the kind of like a somebody person who is like a like a like a something like a very strong person to kind of like a build this kind of like a somebody very like a, I don't know. Okay, like basically this thing that ki because of the Bhimrao Ambedkar, I kind of like a somebody getting this life. Okay, yeah. So 14th of April is kind of like a something his birthday. Okay, yeah. Like a Jayanti means kind of like a somebody birthday, and we are kind of like a celebrating. Okay, yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, okay, yeah. For the scheduled caste community of people or SC community of the people, celebrating 14th of April is a kind of like a equivalent as a Diwali. Okay, yeah. Diwali in the Hindu religious, Diwali is a kind of like only one of the biggest festival. Okay, yeah. But in scheduled caste community, 14th of April is a kind of like a something day that we kind of like a celebrate as a Bhimrao Ambedkar, is kind of like a something equivalent to that kind of like a something a Diwali. Okay, yeah, and we celebrate, which is something really good. Okay, yeah. So like basically this thing, I'm just kind of like explaining things, entire thing that why I didn't really record the artifact for last 2 days, and I was kind of like mentioning this entire thing for that. Okay, yeah. By the way, let me tell you one thing now. The information that I told you right now is, I'm not really expert. Okay, and I'm not really kind of like somebody very historic person. Okay, yeah. The things that I kind of like said in this artifact is kind of like telling my experience and telling the information that I have right now. Okay, yeah. And trust me, just think that ki I will definitely gonna kind of like something wrong in this particular thing. Okay, yeah, because I am not an expert. I'm nothing really at all. I'm just kind of like saying the things that I kind of like somebody heard and somewhere. All right. Okay. So this is what it is. Okay. So basically this is saying that ki 14th of April means like that yesterday 14th of April was happened, and like basically in here, okay, yeah, in my surrounding area, we are kind of like a celebrating 14th of April. Okay, yeah. Basically this, I'm living actually kind of like a something just close by to the Vihar. Okay, yeah. And yeah, so okay. So 13th of April, haven't really record the artifact because it was kind of like a something just like basically it's a kind of like a celebration. It's a lot of things was actually happening. It was kind of like something too much noises. I won't be able to record the artifact, so that's why I didn't really record the artifact. Okay, yeah. And yesterday I went to rally. Okay, yeah. Like at the 14th of April, we kind of like something had some sort of rally or parade or things like that. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, that rally is a kind of like a something celebration of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Jayanti, right? Yeah, so this is what it is. That's why I just didn't really record the artifact. Okay, whatever. It's been almost like a 19 of minute. I'm just kind of like explaining why I didn't really record the artifact. Okay, yeah, whatever. Let's just jump into the question. All right, let's go. Okay. All right. Okay. So question is, how can I improve my product and service to make it 10 times better than today? Oh, that is really good question. Okay, that's really good question. Okay, first of all, let's talk about what is exactly my product and services. Okay, yeah. So I am a YouTuber. Okay, yeah. YouTuber, content creator. I kind of like create the video and upload the video on social media platform, YouTube and Instagram platform. Okay. Uh, okay. So basically, is this thing? The question is actually trying to tell me what is kind of like some of the stuff that I should supposed to do to make my product or service become 10x percent better. Okay, or 10x high. How do I supposed to make it better? Okay, yeah, like how do I supposed to make my content like a 10x better than today? Probably is this thing na ki I am kind of like improving my content. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna specifically say, I am not really sure that ki I am actually upgrading my content every single day. Okay, yeah. But 10x better than today is not gonna happen. Okay, yeah. 10x means like that ki 10 time greater than today. Okay, yeah. And basically 10 time greater than today will not gonna happen. Okay, yeah. Like the growth and kind of like somebody improving the content is actually happened respect to the time and kind of like a happens slow by slow. Okay, yeah, it happened kind of like a, it depends on how much kind of like somebody you interact with it. Let me tell you something that, okay, one thing, if you wanted to be expert in some sort of thing, okay, you have to be spend almost like a 10,000 hour for doing that thing. 10,000 hour. Okay, yeah. Means like that, let me tell you one thing. You are the photographer. Okay, yeah. So basically, if you wanted to be called as an expert photographer, you should supposed to be take 10,000 photos. Literally, yeah, you have to take 10,000 photos. Okay, yeah. If you wanted to be kind of like a somebody wanted to be a doctor and things like that, you have to be not only study but as also kind of like a do the kind of like a somebody all those treatment of the patients and things like that, and you have to work almost like a 10,000, then you become kind of like a simply expert doctor. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key, if you wanted to be expert in any kind of like a field, you have to be spend almost like a 10,000 hour. Okay, yeah. Now regarding about me, I my content is a graphic designing, Photoshop photography. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, I am kind of like editing my photos, uploading my photos every single day on YouTube and Instagram platform. Okay, yeah. I am kind of like something improving my content every single day. Okay, yeah. And I'm trying to make as minimum mistake as I could possible, and I try to improve my content as much as possible. Okay, yeah. So basically it's this thing. Another thing is that ki my content will not gonna improve 10x better than today. It will not gonna happen, trust me, because it is like it lot of thing. Okay, it is lot of thing. Okay, yeah. Like improvement should supposed to be happen almost like a 1x or 2x things like that. Okay, important thing is that ki you just have to be consistent and be kind of like a something, do your thing every single day. Okay, yeah. And this is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm kind of like simply improving my content every single day, and I'm kind of like simply maintaining my consistency regarding about the content creation every single day. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah. But will this consistency and will this kind of like a something you are doing this thing, will it be kind of like a something that ki something like that ki you will gonna improve your content? I will. I'm believing myself, and I'm trying to be as best as I could to make it better, and I will be. Okay, I'm not really doubting in myself, so yeah, I will definitely. Okay, yeah. So this is my kind of like a summary stuff. Okay, but by the way, there are a couple of pointers are here to kind of like simply how do I supposed to make my content or brand experience 10 times better. First time, make artifact episode of more and define system. Okay. Okay. Problem with the solution, storytellings and visual. Yeah, I'm focusing on storytelling and visuals. Improving video structure, make it content, strengthen the audience and engagement community. Yeah, I do kind of like a simply interact with my community. Okay, yeah. Monetize the value driven by, improve the brand positioning and differentiation. High 3D. I don't know, yeah. Like basically, is this seeing the stuff that they mentioned regarding about how do I supposed to make 10 times better my content creation is I should supposed to be kind of like let me tell you one thing na ki what I am kind of like a doing to making my content improve. Okay, yeah. First of all is that ki consistency and yeah, like basically consistency, it is really essential. Okay, yeah. And I don't know, yeah, dude, it's just like that na ki, like am I interacting with the audience? Yes, I am. Like if someone is actually commenting on my video, I do kind of like a giving them reply and things like that. So yeah, I'm doing it. And uh yeah, I don't know how do I supposed to kind of like a somebody is this thing that key, what is exactly kind of like you are actually expecting something that key a very kind of like a somebody very secret way that I'm kind of like improving my content. I am improving my content every single day. Okay, yeah. Like, yeah. Like also another thing na ki when you have a kind of like a something expectation to be make it 10 times better, then it will it will gonna not only like it will not gonna add any kind of like some value in your content, it will add only stress. Okay, yeah. And 10 times better, like this will not gonna happen. Like I am not kind of like something expecting to be that key make my content 10 times better. No, it's not that. Okay, like basically, like if I'm making like a photo right now is very like a pathetic, and next day I'm kind of like a taking a photo with very professional, this will not gonna happen. Okay, yeah. In one day things will not gonna happen. Okay, yeah. You have to be spend almost like a years of effort, and then improvement will gonna show. Okay, yeah. So what are the kind of like some stuff that I'm kind of like a somebody thinking to improving my content? Consistency. Okay, yeah. Being a consistency is a kind of like a thing that okay, I should supposed to be invest more and more time to kind of like essentially making my content, improving my content. And basically I'm improving content maybe 1.5 or 2x, something like that probably. Okay, yeah. It will take kind of like a some time. Okay, yeah. 10x improvement is actually happen when you are spend almost like a year. Okay, like a basically is this thing, a year ago I not year yeah, a year ago I am kind of like actually very scared to use Photoshop because I don't really know how to use Photoshop and things like that. Right now I am using Photoshop. I am creating graphic design on the Photoshop. So basically from year 1 year gap of point of perspective, then I might gonna say that a 10 times better. Okay, yeah. But I will not gonna say that ki 10 times better my content within a day will not gonna happen. But within a year, yeah, like literally I just kind of like assembly a year ago I upload this video and year after I upload this video I realize, oh, like there is a lot of kind of like a difference is actually happened. So basically improvement is actually happen when you see this thing kind of like some years of gap, then you realize that, oh, this is something really good. So yeah. All right. Okay. Now another question is that ki how do I supposed to improve my product and service? So as I mentioned regarding about the content creation. All right. Yeah. I do have kind of like assembly one of the business that I wanted to improve, but still I will not gonna talk about right now. Why? Because it's time. Okay. Yeah. It's been almost like a 30 minute, and I am tired, and I do have some sort of work. All right. All right, so this is it, this end, and thank you.